Kruger and Friday the 13th. Or Jason and Friday the 13th. I mean, those backcourt players, those guards for Louisville looked absolutely positively petrified. If they were wearing a diaper, I'd tell you to check it. They looked like they wet their pants. They looked that scared. And because Louisville looked that scared, and I believe basketball is a guard-oriented game, particularly in today's day and age where you've got to have good guard play, you've got to have some perimeter shooting to win a national championship. I'm of the mindset that Louisville, as a number 7 seed, I expect them to get bounced out. It wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota beat them. It really wouldn't. But LSU is in that bracket. Virginia Tech, who, by the way, beat Duke, they're in that bracket. They could actually end up facing Duke in the Elite Eight. Keep your eyes on that matchup. But Liberty's 28-6, can't underestimate them. Then we go over to the West region. Michigan's the number 2 seed in the West. You lost to Michigan State 3 times. If you lost to Michigan State 3 times, you ain't beating Gonzaga, in my opinion. Syracuse in that zone is difficult for most teams to figure out. I think Mark Few and his crew would be able to figure that out. Plus, Syracuse could end up having some problems with Baylor ahead of times. Marquette against Murray State. Now, that's the game I'm looking for. That's the game that I'm looking for. John Moran versus Marcus Howard, that's the game I'm looking for right there. Because I'm here to tell you something right now. That 5th versus 12th mark, Thursday, 4:30 p.m., check your local listings. Don't miss that. Because I'm here to tell you something right now. It's going to be special to behold. Make no mistake about it. John Morant's averaged 24 and 10 this year. 24 and 10. Oh, by the way, he shoots 50% from the field. Nearly 34% from three-point range. He's got skills. Jay Williams came on First Take this morning, my show on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to noon, Eastern Time, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific. Jay's got him going number 2 in the draft ahead of R.J. Barrett out of Duke. How do y'all feel about that? I like John Moran. He's the real deal. You can sit up there and say he's relatively small, but the reality is that he's listed at 6'3". He's listed at 6'3", 175 relatively slim, but 6'3" is good height. That's Steph Curry's height. He don't look that way when you're looking at him on the court, but maybe he is that tall. He's got mad skills and he's got mad hops. He can get to the basket. He can put the ball in the hole. And him going against Marcus Howard, I need to see more from Marcus Howard. We got this beautiful, beautiful feature done on him by ESPN. Beautiful feature. And we look at Marcus Howard, remember, on at least 3 separate occasions this year, he dropped more than 45. Marcus Howard looked special in certain circumstances. In other circumstances, not so much. He looks good if you let him get his shot off, but what if you lock in on him and go about the business of trying to deny him to get his shot off? Is he capable of doing that? I think he is, but I haven't seen enough of him. So I've seen highlights, and then I've watched him sporadically, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, but I've never sat down and watched a full entire game of Marcus Howard. I need to do that because I want to see what the brother's made of before I give a basketball critique about him. I really do. Because let me tell you something right now. This is a big-time game. Let's face reality. You got cats that want to go, and Marcus Howard is only 5'11". So if John Morant is small, could you imagine how Marcus Howard is? John Morant's got him about 4 inches. Same weight, but got him about 4 inches. Now, Marcus Howard averaged 25, 4 and 4. But you look at John Morant, he's got him about 4 inches. And I'm looking at Marcus Howard here. He's only shooting 42% from the field. He's shooting better from three-point range. He hits 40% of his threes. John Moran hits 33.6% of his threes. But listen, let me tell y'all something. This right here is what makes the NCAA tournament so special. It's not just the Cinderella. It's not just the upsets. It's not just the shocks, the one shining moment, the multitude of one shining moments that you have. that you show once the national champion has been decided. It's not just that. It's the fact that in games like this is a rare occasion, ladies and gentlemen. This is a rare occasion where you see two cats that play relatively the same position, that have both been making noise in college basketball, that are both expected to be in the NBA draft this year. It's a rare occasion where you see them in the NCAA tournament get to go up against one another head to head. Usually it's some star that's some power forward versus some star guard or some star center going up against a star small forward or something like that. No. Both of these are guards. Both of these are prolific scorers. Both of these individuals have garnered our attention throughout this year, throughout this season. And now in the very, very first round, the opening round of the NCAA tournament, Thursday afternoon, 4:30 Eastern time, they're going up against each other. I'm telling you right now, this is the kind of stuff that matters. You're going to see NBA scouts everywhere. You're going to see NBA scouts everywhere because this is what you want to see. You want to see this kind of stuff going on. You Magic Johnson, you're going to be in the stands for this one. If I'm Magic Johnson, this is where I'm at. I'm out west. I'm in the West region for this game Thursday because I want to see Ja Morant. If Jay Williams got this brother going number 2 overall, and you're thinking about picking him again ahead of R.J. Barrett, because we all know Zion Williamson is going to be the number 1 overall pick. We all know that. So because we know that, now the question is, who's going to be number 2? Who's going to be number 3? Who's going to fall in your top 5? Because if you're the Lakers, if you're the Knicks, these are the kind of things you're looking at because you want to see what these brothers are made of. Because you might end up not getting the number 1 overall pick, and these are the cats that you got to look at. It's just that simple. You got to look at these brothers. And you got to ask yourself, what are they bringing to the table? That's what you got to do. And if you're doing it like that, this is what it's about. Marcus Howard, I think Ja Morant has impressed so much, he'd have to be god-awful to affect his draft status. But I think if you're Marcus Howard, you're a bubble. We got to look at you, see what you got. You got to show up in this NCAA tournament game. There can be no confusion. You got to show up. 888, say ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I'll get into the South and the Midwest region in just a few minutes. Of course, my man Seth Greenberg, coach extraordinaire, former coach at Virginia Tech, analyst for ESPN over the last several years. He'll be on the show with us at the top of the number 2 hour number 2 on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, and ESPN News. But before I get back into these brackets, particularly the South and the Midwest region, where Virginia and North Carolina are the number 1 seeds, where Tennessee and Kentucky are the number 2 seeds, respectively, in those brackets. Before I get to that, let me transition to the NBA because the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Lakers played a game at Madison Square Garden last night. And LeBron James had 33 points in 35 minutes, was absolutely awful in the fourth quarter. Missed about 11 shots, probably the worst fourth quarter of his career. Thereafter, or rather in the final play of the game, Hezonja, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, he was going up against LeBron James, and LeBron James took him to the basket, drove to the left lane, and went up and had no lift whatsoever. And Hezonja blocked his shot and then stared him down. And that was at the end of the game, and the Knicks won the game. Comeback victory over the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers are just not that impressive. I could say they stink, but I'm just in a good mood. No need for me to do that. But the bottom line is that they're just not that impressive. I got a couple of things before I get to my big point about Clyde Frazier. I want to know why LeBron was in the game. That's number 1. The games don't matter. We said that we want to find out. We said that we want to find out about LeBron James in terms of these young guys, how they'll react under pressure, how much they're growing, et cetera, et cetera. Why was LeBron James even in the game? He didn't need to be in there. What does LeBron James have to prove at this particular moment in time? And why is he taking 15 shots in the fourth quarter? For what? How come you can't let the young guys do something? Kuzma played, Bullock played, Caruso played, Williams played, McGee played. How come you couldn't let them shoot the ball? Why couldn't it be a situation where one of them had the ball in their hands? We know what LeBron James has done in his career. We know he has nothing to prove. You're trying to help the Lakers grow, right, Luke Walton? And LeBron James. Let's not let LeBron James off the hook in that regard. Why the hell are you shooting so much in the fourth quarter instead of giving the ball to your younger teammates to see what they have? We appreciate you showing up to the Garden. We know the fans came out there to see you. We got that. And you showed up and you dropped 33 points and you played 35 minutes because you didn't want to cheat the great fans at Madison Square Garden who support a Knicks team that deserves no support in terms of their record. This is what you've done. So why be out there shooting no shots instead of passing it to the young guys to see what they're made of? Why would you do that? And the same question could be asked for Luke Walton for allowing him to do that. Now, let me transition to Walt Clyde Frazier, a champion, a Hall of Famer, one of the great, great people in our business. But I thought he crossed the line yesterday. And do we have that sound, Cat, Jonathan? I thought Walt Clyde Frazier crossed the line yesterday in talking about LeBron James. Just because LeBron James went to the bench and sat on the edge of the bench, just because he did that, Walt Clyde Frazier said this.
When you're the face of the NBA, I think you should be more a part of your team, folks. No matter what is going on. In the public, you got to be a part of the team. Maybe in the locker room, you're not, but you have to exude that type of togetherness in public, folks. And right now, we see he doesn't really care.
Right now, we see he doesn't really care. Because LeBron James is sitting on the end of the bench, drinking Gatorade in the first quarter. I thought Walt Clyde Frazier crossed the line with that. If there was ever something that should have ticked LeBron James off, that comment should have. That's grossly unfair to LeBron James. And you're listening to somebody, ladies and gentlemen, that never hesitates to be critical of LeBron James when I think he deserves it. I think LeBron James at times has been scared to get fouled because he doesn't want to go through the free throw line in his career. I think LeBron James choked against the Dallas Mavericks back in 2011. I think LeBron James could have handled his situation with Kyrie much, much better. And I think he did the Cavaliers organization a disservice by not fighting to keep Kyrie Irving in Cleveland. I think that was disgraceful. But when it comes to something like this, it's just not right. It's not fair. LeBron James does not deserve that. He does not deserve that. When you're a three-time champion, when you're somebody that's a four-time league MVP, when you're the kind of guy that has been a champion and has universally been recognized as the greatest player in the game for the last several years, you've led the league in minutes the last 5 years. You played all 82 games last year. You've done as much as he has done for the game. You don't deserve to be accused of not caring because you're sitting on the end of the bench. The fans can say that. They can be wrong, and we have an obligation to highlight how the fans may feel that way. We have a right to highlight how fans in LA question, Is it more of a priority for him to be a Laker or to go Hollywood? All of those things are right for fans to question. And we have an obligation to disseminate their point of view. We really, really do. That is absolutely true. What we don't have the right to do is ignore a resume that's pretty damn close to impeccable in terms of his behavior and commitment to excellence. There's a lot of things. When my boy Champ calls up and he's critical of LeBron, the player, where you're on the court and you see certain things that you may not like about his game, there's nothing wrong with that. Even Champ could be a bit excessive, but there's still nothing wrong with it. When there's something wrong is when you ignore the way he takes care of his body, the way he's in peak condition, the way he's always ready to play, the way where he can walk out on the court and put in 35 minutes, 40 minutes without blinking. When you consider the level of physical excellence predicated off of physical commitment, not just to his craft, but to his conditioning, his body, and what have you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is some unparalleled stuff. Tell me somebody in the league who looks in better shape than LeBron James when LeBron James is healthy. We know the groin injury sidelined him Christmas Day and he wasn't the same. But who looks, other than Russell Westbrook maybe, and even that's debatable, the fact of the matter is when you look at LeBron, LeBron shows up every year ready to go. To sit up there and treat him like he doesn't care, see, that's where we crossing the line. We really, really are crossing the line. We're reaching. And we're allowing headlines about him preceding his arrival to manipulate our coverage of him once he arrives. With all due respect to Walt Clyde Frazier, you don't even have a license to criticize the Knicks. You can't criticize your own team, but you can criticize LeBron. Like that? LeBron deserves criticism sometimes, mind you. Wanting to control the narrative and all that other stuff, but he didn't deserve that. I'm sorry. He just didn't deserve that. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network. Seth Greenberg is not going to be on at the top of the 2 o'clock hour. He'll be on with us next, so don't touch that dial.